Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Bear with me, I'm not great at Zoom. It takes me a little while. I'll do a little share. And I am going to go to the class. Oh, what? Out of class, out of class. I gotta, let's close that. I'm gonna stop the share for a second because I gotta get in the right place on my screen without exposing anything. Okay. So, start the share again. Share screen. Boom, boom. Okay, so here is the class. Go in there, and when I go into these things and I want to show you something, I also have to go to student view, because otherwise what I see and what you see are totally different. I've been in here and working a little bit, so I've worked ahead. But the most important thing as far as accessing quizzes and other material in class is that you go in a certain order. So you want to start out, first of all, you have a to-do list right here. Ignore it, at least initially. It'll tell you you have things to do, but you can't just click on those and do the things, okay? So that's not going to be how you get to the things to do. That's just going to tell you you have certain things to do. So I'm going to go to modules, which is where you should start. Well, you start on the home page, and I'll have announcements and stuff up there. But go to modules, and I've already forgotten who asked the question. But let me make this smaller. Okay. And you are your name? Muska. Okay, Muska. So you go to modules, and you'll see this gray bar at the top of each section of the class. Okay? And then anything that you have access to is in this dark text. Things that you don't have access to is in this light text. How do you get access to the stuff that's in light text? You have to go through, and this is going to tell you how to do it. You go through and you're in modules already. You work down in order, and then whenever there's something that says mark done on it, you have to mark done. Now, unfortunately, they don't put this down here at the bottom. They put it at the top. I've already done this, so that's good, okay? So I can hit next, and I've already done I did the quizzes before class, so, and next, and next. Now, and I'll go back in a minute and show you something about the quiz. Okay? Now, if I hit next here, I'm going to get something that says complete prerequisites. So I need to go back to getting started in this class and the Canvas browser and app. Okay? So I can go back to modules and find that thing that I didn't do. Okay, Canvas setting. Okay. And hit mark done. Okay. And that basically there, if you can get your favorite email on there in your Canvas account up here, that'll help you get any kind of messages I'm sending out, as opposed to going into the Delta email, which is clunky and weird. Okay. So I've marked that, and now I can get into this. This tells you if you can use Google Chrome, that's the best one. If not, you might not get everything that's in the class. So try to use Google Chrome, because the thing that other browsers like to block are the images, which are the most important thing in an art history class. You can also do this on your phone, but I want you to be able to see artwork, so it's better to use a big screen, especially when you're dealing with the videos, which are video lectures, and the exams. So I see that I'm supposed to mark done up here, and I hit next. Okay, you can get help in other places. Everything's loading really slow. The help and services button, by the way, is right over there. Now that I know that's not there, I'll fix that link. Okay, and I'm gonna mark this as done. Oh, wait. I'm not gonna mark this as done because I wanna show you something. Okay. If I go out of modules, what I see now, I haven't marked everything done in this module. There's still one little circle down here. There's a red circle with a little dash in it up here. I need to get that to a green check, because if I don't do that, eventually there'll be some little locks down on later sections. Like right here, you see prerequisite, getting ready, getting started in this class. Oh, the lock isn't there right now. I think I took it off because I was just requiring the first 4 of these. But if you hadn't done these, you'd have a little lock icon here. And to get it unlocked, you would have to do the quizzes up here. And by the way, on those quizzes, you also have to score over 2 points to get everything unlocked. So I'm going to go back to Canvas Help. And I'm going to hit Mark Done, Next. And then let's look at what happens to the module. You got a green check, and that means anything that requires you look at this is now open. So the other thing that you're going to have to do is sort of go through, so then you can start on your syllabus. At this point, if I jumped down to the syllabus quiz, God, I hope it's closed. Okay, take the quiz. Oh, I misset something. So you guys can take the syllabus quiz now because I misset something. But in the future, if you get like a little message saying prerequisites not met, it means you have to go back and check a few things. So I am going to be setting the next unit so that you have to get all 10 points on the syllabus quiz to go on. And that's just so that we're all on the same page as far as the class. Now, obviously, this whole setting prerequisites, I'm not the best at. I am going to get better at it as the semester goes through. But it's something that's relatively new in Canvas, and I'm working on it. So if you did not have access to that second Canvas quiz, what you want to do is start at the beginning of the modules and have little green check marks above the thing that you don't have access to, and then you should have access to it. The other thing that we've come across is that students might need to refresh their page or hit whatever button. I think it says resume quiz or redo quiz. Hit that button on the page so that you can open up that quiz. And Muska, if you want to try that right now and let me know if it works, that'd be great. If you don't, that's also fine.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. What should I try?
So if you go through that first module and you just make sure that you've checked all the boxes, like mark them as done, starting with the very top module. Here, I'll walk you through it. Is that it? Okay, so I'm going to the modules. Okay, and I'm gonna click on this first one. And you will, if you don't have the green box here, then hit Mark Done.
Are you sharing your screen?
Oh, I thought I was. Oops. Oh,
it's
I forgot.
okay.
No, it's fine. Hold on. I keep forgetting that Zoom requires you to hit like the buttons 3 times. You know, the 3 buttons that say share. Is that better? Okay. Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to go to modules, click on this, and do you see a little green check there?
Yeah, I do.
You do, you have that. Okay, what about for the Canvas quiz 2? Do you have a green check?
Yeah.
Great. How about more on navigation? Green check?
No.
Okay, so you're going to go straight there. And basically, it's saying that at certain points in time, something might say you haven't met a prerequisite. And if you do that, don't do that, then you might get a lock sign somewhere. Okay. So you read that and then you hit done. And then if you could check to see if you have access to the quiz now.
I think I do. Wait,
Yay.
it's loading.
Okay. So these are all.
Yeah, I do.
Oh my gosh, thank you. These are the things that are making me very happy now when I can walk people through that, because I don't, it's just this clunky technology initially early on, and I'm trying to get you to make sure that you've done the earlier things so that you can understand later things. So, and this is all the most boring stuff, isn't it? Okay. So, do you want to talk? Yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to know what we're going to learn in this class, because the counselor, she just gave me a brief introduction to this class, and I thought, because I like history, so I would like to know what we're going to learn in this class.
Well, that's a great question. So I actually made a little video about all the different art history classes we have at Delta. And if you like history, this is a great class to start with, because we start out, it's pretty history heavy initially, but with pictures, right? So we start out in 1400 and we start to look at Italian Renaissance art. We go through Baroque art in Europe. Oh, are you happy about that? Or okay, good. We go through Baroque art in Europe, which is amazing, fascinating period. Now, during that period, we will have to talk about religion plays a huge role in art. So I'll talk about religion. And I know a lot of my art students are like, stop talking about religion. To understand what was going on in the Baroque period, you got to understand the religion. I took my nieces to Amsterdam about 4 years ago. It was for a 16th birthday trip. And I still remember having this little conversation on the street. They were not raised religious. And they're like, well, we don't understand why the churches, wait a second, can you explain again why the churches were taken over by who? The Calvinists? And they used to be Catholic? And what did the Calvinists do? So I'm giving them like this 2-minute Catholic versus Calvinist lecture on the street, and then all these tourists were around me. So I was like, okay.
You're like the tour guide, you're explaining everything.
My favorite tour guide story was once I was at a museum with my niece, another group of nieces and nephews, and they said, can you tell us about this artwork? And I was like, oh, it was a work about the Holocaust, and it was very dark and very heavy. And I was like, oh, and I said, okay, sure. So we did a little 5-minute spiel. That was up on the 4th floor of this museum. The museum moved the artwork to the basement, and my nephew, who was 6 at the time that I gave the little spiel, was saying, oh, Ma, I remember what Aunt Jenny said about this. By the way, don't call me Jenny unless you're my niece or nephew. They, blah, 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 blah. And my sister turned around and there were 30 people listening to a 10-year-old on this monument about the Holocaust. So these little things will pop up as you're looking at things around you too. It's not just art. There are lessons you'll learn. So we go from the Renaissance to the Baroque era. We'll talk about Rococo art, which is this wonderful, fluffy, fantastic, just to enjoy art. we'll get into something called neoclassicism and romanticism and realism, which were all very much based on political movements in the early 19th century and greater individual expression. We get to this guy named Manet, who's super duper important, and I'll often say him, Manet, because after that we cover Monet and the Impressionists and Van Gogh and the other post-Impressionists up to modern art to 1940, about 1945. I'm trying to place more emphasis on people of color in the European art class, so I'll mention lots of things, but because there was limited access and also some other reasons that people of color aren't going to make art in the European tradition in like the Renaissance and the Baroque era, it'll be more about subject matter. And towards the end of the semester, we start to see more artists of color. So for instance, Henry Ossawa Tanner is a fantastic African-American artist from the 19th century. We'll talk quickly about the Harlem Renaissance and the Mexican mural movement. We'll also have a little section in the 19th century that talks about European artists as they depicted people of color and some various trends. All of them, when you look at them today, you're like, oh my God. But it gives you sort of a sense of where we're coming from, you know, and what was going on at a certain time. Good?
Yes, I love this class already because I love the Renaissance. We study about it in 7th grade, and I just love that part. So I was like, I need to get history in 9th grade.
Well, and it's fantastic, fun stuff. I love it. I love it. I mean, I hope that comes through and that you get a little bit of that. And by the way, I'll just this picture behind me. My room's a mess, so I have a green screen. I don't know if you can see. Let's see if I can. That's me. That's in the National Gallery in London. And I took some, a group of friends. We have this fantastic couple that we're really close friends with. She had never been to Europe, but is really into a lot of things related to European art and especially London. So all our friends were going to chip in money and send them to London for a week for their anniversary, their 25th anniversary. And someone said, well, we better check to make sure that Mike can go. And I was like, oh yeah. So I called Mike and he goes, oh, I just can't go. I'm in this startup and that's our most important week. But could you take Dory, his wife? So it ended up being me. I got to send me to London for their anniversary gift. And we saw an exhibition on Winnie the Pooh. We went to the National Gallery and did a lot of other fun, like not art things, but it was a spectacular. I'll share pictures of that trip because it sort of gives you a sense of how you can, like, when you know some things about art history, you can have fun with it. So it's not all dreary and everything, not all BBC documentary. So, okay, I have a question. How soon should we purchase our textbook? So the textbook, okay. Muska, you probably want to get a textbook, okay? Because you're really into this subject matter. I don't know if anyone else here is an art major or really into the subject. Okay, Danielle, art major, you should get a textbook. But you have a lot of options. And so what I encourage you to do is I sent out an email last week with information about the textbook, how to get it cheaply, some other options you might want. Just focus on volume 2. Make sure you get volume 2. Anything that's in the textbook that you need for this class, I am going to embed in the class. So if you are strapped for cash now, maybe you don't get the textbook. The reason I recommend the textbook is because going through the textbook, and this is just one of the versions that you can get, going through the textbook and finding examples of Italian Renaissance, oh, that's not Italian Renaissance art, but that is Italian Renaissance art. That's Italian Renaissance art, is going to be a lot easier than hopping on the internet, figuring out, finding an Italian Renaissance image. And for all the times that you use images in the class, you have to include the name of the artist, the title, and the date of the artwork. Google search doesn't give you that, right? So it's this amorphous blob. I have included a few other search tools that will help you. So you can do fine in the class without the textbook. This just might make it easier. That's all. Okay. And the reason this textbook is because this is written in a manner that's relatively easy to read, whereas Jansen's History of Art or Stockstead's art history is written at a like 13th or 14th grade level. So that's like beyond English 1A at Delta College. So it might work for you. You know, if you're a strong reader, great, you can use those other books, but this one's a little more simple. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry that you have to go to your high school class. I am recording this and we'll post it for you. So have fun in your high school class, okay? You're welcome, and welcome to Art 1A. I mean, Art 1B, rather, okay. So that's the textbook. All Zoom sessions are going to be optional. I will have these so that you can, I will have Zoom sessions to help you out. So when there's something that we're doing, like I'm going to give you an exercise about linear perspective, your mind will be pained. Even if Danielle, you're an art student, you've probably learned linear perspective, or going to have to. And the art history end of it is going to be like, oh man, what? Because it's really different. So I'm going to have help sessions, but they're all optional. Okay. Have I answered the questions that I said I would answer? Okay. So now, if you're muted and you have a question, you get to ask me. Unmute yourself though, or put it in the chat. Nothing? Nothing?
I have a quick question. So I got into the Zoom meeting a little late because I was in another one, but as far as like the assignments go, most of them are in Canvas, or like do we have to like connect to something else?
They're all in Canvas.
I'm sorry, I think. Oh, okay.
All in
Thank you.
Canvas. Yes. Good question.
I think that's the only question I have.
Wow. Okay. I am getting better at Canvas. I used to teach on it all the time, but they changed a whole bunch. So now I have to relearn it all. So, and by the way, I'm sorry I haven't been able to get to your discussion section yet. I'm really interested in meeting people and learning more about, you know, them and what they like. It's just been really crazy with Canvas settings and 300 students so far this semester. So we'll get there. We'll get there. Is there anything anything in particular anyone would like to see included in the class? I do have the chat sign thing going, but no. Okay, let's talk about contacting me. Quickest response, the Canvas inbox. By far the quickest response. I was on that all day yesterday, like setting out all the little fires I had created with incorrect settings. And then I checked my email from Delta this morning and I was like, oh my gosh, there's a whole bunch of other things I have to see. So, but the inbox, I have that open, I have Canvas open most of the day. So I'm trying to get to those as quickly as, those are the first things I get to. Then I'm going to go to the emails. So try that first. When I figured out the Google phone thing and set it up on all my various devices, I will be better about that. And I will get to setting up Remind just so that I can send out little text reminders, because I know, and even I have finally figured out that sometimes text is better than a phone call. So even I am checking my texts more often than my voice messages, which is a huge shift for me. So that's it. That's it. Okay. My dogs are being very uncooperative this morning. We have the best neighbors they have ever, and they have a little doggy door that we put in the fence because they asked us to borrow our dogs periodically. And they've decided that they like the neighbors better than me this morning, so they're not going to meet you. But I will put a video up when I get one made. Well, that was short and sweet.
What kind of dogs do you have?
I have, they're all mutts. They're all rescue dogs. And don't even get me started on that. But because I do love most dogs.
I'm actually so scared of dogs.
Oh, really? Yes. Okay. So then if you ever see me walking around with a white dog with black spots, just don't look at her and she'll.
But I want to like start forming a bond with them. So my best friends have dogs and I've been going to their house more often. They got kitties.
Oh, well, the funny thing is that that's exactly what my neighbor said about our dog. She was afraid of dogs, but she wanted to get over it. And we have this neighbor who is the most amazing person ever. She teaches high school English. And we're in Fremont, but the things that she does just to make everything more accessible for students. And oh my God, I wish I had her heart. Mine's like a tenth of the size. She wanted to get more familiar with dogs. That's why she eventually had the dog door put up. So we have one that's part border collie, what I would call an Irish dog. And she used to do sheep herding and stuff. And then one who's part German Shepherd and something called a Münsterlander, we think, because he looks like one. And he's a complete, oh my God, that dog is so smart, but he's such a little jerk. He'll like pretend that he doesn't know better and walk by two other dogs and take the toy and walk away. And we're like, oh, that's Darwin. So Izzy and Darwin. I have a question. Will we have any lectures through Zoom or will they all be in the modules? They're all in the modules. And I am busily updating my lectures so that they're not as visually unappealing and that the sound is better. But you'll notice varying quality as you go through class. So there's never any specific time that you have to hop on Zoom or that I'm giving this Zoom video where I'm like, oh my God, I have to hit that button. So all the lectures will be embedded into Canvas. I'm trying to make them shorter, but they aren't necessarily short. And they're also available on YouTube. So you can just click the little YouTube button if you want to share. Anything else? So if many of you are art students and you decide that you want to come up with a way of doing the final research project, incorporating your own artwork, let me know. I'm going to try to come up with a way of doing that. You don't know what that research project is yet, but you will in a few weeks. So I'll post that. And it's meant to be all chunked into smaller sections and ease any anxiety about writing, even though in art history, most of what we do is writing. So. Don't make me teach you art. That would be art history I can do, not art. And thank you for the thumbs up, Stacia. Is that it? Okay. Well, I do have office hours, so if you are having problems, reach out to Canvas inbox first. Unless you can't get to Canvas, then go to the email. And the office hours, I'll start posting them on Zoom. I can't even. My head is so frozen that I cannot even remember when they are. I think they're on Thursdays, and there's one earlier in the day and one later in the day, but I will also make appointments to go through things. So if you're having trouble doing something on the classroom and you can't get help through the little help and student services button on Canvas, then let me know. I'm better with art history concepts than I am with tech. Way better. And thank you, Danielle, for smiling. I feel like I'm, talking to people. Okay. Okay, well, I think I've answered all the questions, so I'm gonna head out unless someone else has another question.
Thank you for your time.
You are most welcome.
And I hope you stay safe in Fremont. My best friend's there. She evacuated, so.
Oh, is she on the other side of 680?
Yes, she is. She's in Warm Springs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're at the other end. We're in if we need it. So.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. One of those many, many blessings that I'm looking at and going, oh, I'm so lucky.
Right.
Okay, and I hope that everyone else stays safe and gets a chance to enjoy the class.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Stacia, bye. Most welcome. Okay, so I'm going to end the session now, unless someone tells me to stop. Bye.